one source to get my books, and that's me. And so they've hacked the website. I have no income. And basically, I'm putting my site up again. Theresa and others have given me some very valuable tools regarding Bluehost and some of the other problems I'm encountering. But I'll tell you what, there's more going on here, my dear Horatio. And I have no clue, because when I encounter something smarter than me, it creeps me out.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. You feel like it's an artificial intelligence or some code out there, and we know that it's like everywhere we go, and even shopping, computers, everything seems to be run now, our money, our banks, by computers, and people don't even trust their own selves. And I've caught myself saying, because it's in the computer, or that's just the way it is.
Okay, when I was in high school, the person that beat me out in the science fair nationals, in science fair, I made it to nationals. I went to the nationals. I came in second. I was always number two. I was never number one in anything. It's the truth. It's the truth. You know who beat me out was Robert Strom. He had a computer called Univac, and it was a relay system. And I was a high school kid, too, out of New York. And what I did is I got very interested, and I wrote my first science fiction. And it was basically like the Forbin Project, where this computer had all the knowledge of some of man's knowledge at his fingertips. And they turned the switch on, and they asked the computer the first question, is there a God? And the computer, without hesitation, said, there is now. Read it and weep. That's what Kurzweil and others are quite concerned about. And you should be. Because even the third generation D-Waves out of Abbotsford right now, they cannot, they're using them for law enforcement in Chicago. They deployed them up there to stop crime 28 minutes before the event occurs, just like in Minority Report. However, a shooter cannot go doing purpose because you're not in conflict with anything. It is the wounds and working from a place of wounding that creates intent. And if you work from a place of purpose, you are essentially invisible. That's a metaphor.
A place of purpose. So this gives us our visibility here in this three-dimension, or I guess third-dimensional world, or that one that we call reality versus one that we create. Do you believe that, like many people say, that part of us is kept in the Akashic field, or where do you think the majority of our memories are stored? Is that a bona fide question? I mean, I'm asking
in the multiverse, in this structured water that leaves and goes back into the multiverse, and it's part of one chapter. It's called Time Travel. It's called Time Travel and the True Nature of Cavitation. It is a membrane where a drop of water hits a pool of water, and the drop of water goes into the pool of water, and what does it pops back up again. Quick, but that is no longer a drop of water. What it is a bubble of structured water containing the medium in which it fell, like air, going into a cavitation, into the out of, as a true torus twister. And so when Hawkins and Penrose wrote that book on the universe, it was point, counterpoint. Where Hawkings talked about a black hole, and Penrose talked about torus twister space. And at the end of the chapter, a book, they both came to the same conclusion. Now, I personally do not ascribe to the TOE, the theory of everything. I don't think it works like that. We basically, in physics, start with assumed truths, definitions, before we go to postulates, theorems, and the rest of it. And basically, assumed truth might be the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Today, we know that that's not true. With simple tensor math, I can prove the Earth is flat. Is the Earth flat or round? And the correct answer is yes. It's both predicated on your assumed truths and your definitions. Information, which is different than quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is basically, quantum theory, is basically taking an analog system and digitizing it, just like we did with music. When you digitize it, okay, basically what you're doing is you create Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. And the more you know about one thing, the less you know about something else. You can't get there from here. And it's no longer about Schrodinger's cat. It's about his cat house. There's a bunch of cats in there that are dead, living, and dying. Or how do they put it in that French movie? There is the living, there is the dead, and there are those that go to sea. Now, with that said, basically, holographic universe works on the nature of information and its resolution. And that's where Dune came in with the Bene Jesuits. You have the IQ, which is the physical plane, and above that you have the EQ, the emotional plane. How you feel about the physical plane. It has more information, like a fractal. Mendelbrot, Julia or May pattern, it has a generator. It generates out in quadrants in terms of dodecahedral universe, which is what I wrote about. I have the math on how it is, and today, new directions in mathematics using the multiverse deal with string theory that's tied in knots. It's called knot theory, where plasmas do not interface with each other, and you can have a bowling, squeeze it this way, and the universe moves that way. That will be Kaufman in his mathematics. And with that said, none of it's real. They're constructs that forms in what is known as cybernetic anthropology. This is the idea of memes and the idea of tribal, where you have groupthink, which is different than singlethink. And so the way Chicago is laid out as a city, with the slums over here and the shopping mall there, sets up a music standard that's quite different in Washington, D.C. and the jazz that they play there. It has to do
really?
with thinking.
That's music.
This is Laughlin, the Aquili, and McManus, in a monumental book I taught on magic, metaphysics, and the old metaphysics things. Yes, I did that in the 90s. And that has to do with brain, symbol, and human experience. It's called cybernetic anthropology, and what a meme is, and the way we group basics. Now, David Bohm wrote about that. He called it 10 years after I did my papers. It's called Different Similarities, Similar Differences. The implicate order in the way you move from one system to the next in resonant cavity oscillations.
Now, are you familiar with the gentleman that wrote holodynamics? I had holodynamics, University of Hawaii, with Dr. What was her name? Dr. Laura Sturgis, and the gentleman, I believe he was from your area of the country, California, or have you heard the word digit like
Oregon.
that?
There's quite a difference between California. I'm in the free state of Jefferson. Hoorah.
Oh, this was by Dr. Vernon Wolfe. He was holodynamics. He may have coined the term transforming your holodynamics, transform your life.
Yeah. Fred
Vernon
Allen
Wolfe, PhD.
One of my students at Evergreen when I was first faculty there. And Jeffrey Mishlove also. That's how old I am. I've been teaching a long time. Then I dropped out and became a farmer. And now I'm back in and teaching metaphysics. Meta means beyond. That means
but they won't let you grow herbs, will they? Will they? I mean, or marijuana, or the types of. I have no education about that.
I did indica as a polyploid for the Boeing company in Lunar Base Alpha 1 in 1967 under Art Pilgrim. It later became the Space Center, but it was Lunar Base Alpha 1, and there's a major interview of me in High Times growing pot on the moon, February 1992. And
wow, did you do a paper or book on that discovery or that actual
paper? I would say it. Did we get the right light on this one?
Pot on the moon.
You see,
That probably
the domes of Mars are going to be what we're going to do is we're going to grow our buildings using hemp and manure as the binding agent.
Hemp and manure.
And Elon Musk, that's how they're going to do it, with a 3D printer, just like in The Martian. I wrote a screenplay for Netflix. They wanted me to do one. It's called The Domes of Mars, and how we live on other planets where they're way more hostile, using hydroponics and other kinds of vertical aquaculture. Harmonic system. I did the first hydroponics under Art Pilgrim. I'm old.
Well, are you best known for investigating unexplained phenomena? Because I know you're a wonderful teacher, and in esoterics, when you look at metaphysics or esoterics, they haven't listed any of the latest people that would be considered the greatest metaphysicians in today's time. They only list the old people.
I love men.
Wikipedia.
And Ledbetter, and yes, Francis is really Riccardi. These guys are some of my teachers, and I taught at Rose-Croix. I taught at Indralea. I've done my tours. I'm no longer wanting to really be a teacher as much as I'm seeking colleagues, and this is an important point here. When I studied Tai Chi, my Sifu said, you do not learn Tai Chi, you study it, because everybody does it differently, and what you're doing is integrating it into your own system and making it yours. And so you don't learn something, study it.
Well, in metaphysics, they say, what is it like or what is there? But with our group, we have metaphysicians and we have space advocates, and it still all falls under cosmology and then the study of being ontology. But with someone like you that studied it all and knows all the big words, you're still the wizard of our club, metaphysics and the branches thereof. So I guess we should start probably with asking you to help us formulate some course instruction at a good price so these people can purchase them and put them on their computer and study them, I guess. I don't know. How would you told us we needed 60 people. Well, instead of bringing you over here physically, how would we set up these courses with you? And Ahmad can help me, but to set up webinars
online. We'll do it as a Zoom or Skype, and we'll record it for sale for those that make videos out of it, and then we'll edit those where we add pictures and take my face talking out of it. That's how I want to do it. And and the kind of artwork I like is the new software where, as I'm talking, somebody's drawing artwork and moving across the board, so you see the ideas I'm doing conceptually like a comic book. National Geographic Children in England just asked me to submit some articles, and what I did is a manga comic on structured water with Aqua Girl and the Lost Secrets of Water. And there are a bunch of Snow White. Yeah, that's what I do. I like to work with children. I like to do comic book studies like manga and adventures of where you learn the physics, like you would from Radio Shack or some of the older science magazines that I like, Boy Scientist and Boy Mechanic. You do it physically and with exercises. How does Aqua Girl get to the top of that tree? And we talk about capillary action and how the structured water part of water. Water is not just H2O. There's deuterium. In fact, the entire sea between Australia and Antarctica is mostly deuterium. That's where they mine it. And there's tritium, which doesn't last very long. And then you have Old Man Willard and some of the original people, Reich and other Reich, that talked about